This is my spot this morning. I just got done doing a rabbit video, now I'm doing a beekeeping video. Hi everybody, welcome back to Bobby's Bees, and today I wanted to talk about the month of May, a little bit of the month of April, and just really how we went about getting all our splits and all our swarm traps ready. We're going to talk all about it today. Here we go. Not really ideal. Oh, there she is right there. So the first part of the year is when we go through all our dead outs and we pull all the honey that we can harvest, and we clean up all our hives, and then we end up putting all our hives all around our yard, basically 100 yards away from the apiary, just to try to make sure it's far enough away to not draw robbers to the apiary, and we draw them to where the honey is. And you know, a lot of the frames we'll harvest, but some of them that are not really worth it we'll leave out to let the bees scavenge. So that's kind of step one. But then once we get closer to the season, we'll prepare all our swarm traps using those frames. Some of them have honey, some of them have a couple frames of drawn comb. When it comes to our swarm traps, we'll use some of that really dark comb. Some of that dark comb, it's almost to the point where you need to get rid of it, you need to recycle it, and sometimes it doesn't even really melt down very good if you want to make wax. But what they're really good for is catching swarms. You can always catch the swarms, shake them into a new box, and we'll talk all about that. The other day I'll take you to when we hung a swarm trap and show you how simple it was. And today we're putting up our first swarm trap on the property. We did set up a couple swarm traps at work. We actually walked up on a swarm trap today. We found one at the farm, and it was in this crevice of a tree. We tried putting them in the box, but it was unsuccessful. We came back about an hour later, and it was right at that moment that they all decided to fly off. And it's just nuts how fast that whole cluster, it takes about maybe a minute or two, and just 30,000 bees will just take off and take off like a cloud, almost like a tornado, going in a certain direction. And yeah, and that was all she wrote. We didn't get it. So, but you know what? There's going to be a lot more swarms. We're just getting started. Last year we caught 12, and we'll show you exactly how we do that today. So what we have in this hive is we have a bunch of frames that either have scraped comb, where it's just foundation, or we have at least 3 frames that are in here that have drawn out comb. One of those frames have honey, so it draws them in. We're not sponsored by anybody, but we use Swarm Commander every year. We bought 1 bottle. I think we're still on our first bottle, and it's, I don't know, been 5 years or so. Where's the Swarm Commander? There it is. So I'll just spray once, and then I'll spray once in the hive entrance. It's so strong, you don't want to overdo it. So, but one thing we do is we push our frames over to the right, because there was a study I read that a majority of bees turn to the right when they come into a swarm trap, which I thought was very interesting. So I push them to the right, and I position the honey right in front of the door, the first frame to the right of the entrance. These nail guns are so sweet. So I back it down so it doesn't punch. You can actually lower the impact or increase the power, and I'm going to lower it because I want the nail to pop out a little bit. I'm going to push them over, and then I just sink a nail in here. So that sticks out a little bit, but it won't let these frames slide around when I'm moving them and taking them back to the apiary. All I have to do, I can actually use the hive tool and get this nail out, because I've had to. Okay, so now we're ready to go. So we like to use a 10 frame Langstroth, and we hang it right about head high. In our shelf, all it is just a couple pieces of plywood with a 2x2 as a 45. And we catch a bunch of swarms. Don't let people tell you have to hang them high, you know, it's just kind of dangerous. Catch a whole bunch right at head level, and it's kind of nice to be able to take it and put it in the trailer and get it back to your apiary. So You always want to check to make sure there's still some stability to the shelf. This one feels like it needs a couple more screws before we put that shelf on here. And when you take the box off the shelf, once the bees are in there, it's going to be about 5 pounds heavier at least. Okay, now that's nice and sturdy. I recommend putting this strap over, and that way the wind, you can have a windstorm and you don't have to worry about it. If you don't put this strap on, you're going to be sitting at home going, man, I hope my swarm trap's okay. But with this, you don't have to worry. Just gives you peace of mind. You know it's not going anywhere. Okay. Yep, so. And you know what, matter of fact, I want to tilt it forward so no rain ends up getting into this little deal. So if I can find a stick. Okay. So that's it. We're all set to go. That's all it takes. We're ready to catch some bees. Now, you want to come out here and check it every other day. And if you can, I mean, I know some properties you can't, but you know, once a week, maybe come out here and freshen up that swarm trap. I don't take it apart or anything. I'll just spray the entrance, and 1 or 2 sprays, no more than 2 sprays, because again, it's just bees smell really well, and you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to repel them. But once you see pollen coming into the swarm trap, you know there's a laying queen in there, and you have a trap. Come out here at sunset or dark. Close it down and remove your trap and take it back. Now, if you're taking it back to the same property, you're not taking it more than 2 miles away. You know, some folks have tried stapling their entrance for 24 to 48 hours. That helps them kind of readjust, because sometimes the scouts are already out, they've come back, they've did their dance, and they already have a new location in mind. So if you let them, if you open up that screen entrance too quick, sometimes they'll abscond and you'll lose your swarm. You know, but the studies they're still out. You know, it's not really conclusive. I've never really had a problem. I've not had a swarm abscond if I've opened up the hive right away. But what you will get if you don't take it 2 miles away and you just relocate it within 2 miles on the same property, you'll get bees coming back to the same location. You'll lose bees to this location. So you'll see them balling up, bearding up on the stand or the tree location. So, you know, that's just what I usually do. Is I usually give it a couple days for those bees to recalibrate to their new location. They understand this trap's gone, because a lot of times if you change the trap again, you'll catch the same bees. So just be aware of that. I hope this helps you. So now let's go. It was a windy day and my neighbor was mowing his lawn. He's always mowing his lawn, and his lawn looks really good, like a golf course. We'll take you to yesterday when we were splitting all our hives. We wanted to stimulate the splitting process.